Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Monday, the 11th of the 11th, 2024, Armistice Day. Please remember to pay your respects with a 2-minute silence for all those that made the great sacrifice. Over the weekend, I was scrolling through social media as I do, reading comments and articles posted by independence activists. And you know what? I can't get over the amount of BS finger-pointing and internal strife that we have purely along political lines and personality clashes. It's pathetic. We are fighting a national cause, not measuring the length of our egos. Anyway, with this in mind, I decided to take the subject matter that is relevant to this cause and discuss it here, this week. Today is about the party of government in Scotland. Tomorrow is about our place in the Union. Wednesday we'll discuss the lack of unity from our history and how it reflects in today's movement. And Thursday, well, that's just a big old rant. So let's get started. Is governing well within the limits of devolution enough? Or should the SNP be reaching beyond, boldly pushing Scotland towards true independence? As a lifelong supporter of the SNP and an independence activist, I've spent years believing that the SNP, more than any other party, carries Scotland's best interests at heart. The SNP has always championed self-determination, proving through effective governance that Scotland is more than capable of thriving on its own. But now I feel a growing unease, a sense that the SNP's dominance in government may be holding it back from the radical drive needed to turn independence into reality. This is not a critique of the SNP's values or vision. The SNP is governed with an impressive commitment to fairness and progress, tackling everything from free university tuition to affordable housing and healthcare. Its record in government demonstrates that Scotland can manage its affairs effectively, even amidst global challenges. But as the party strives to prove this competence, I wonder if it risks losing touch with its radical core, the core that once prioritised independence above all. As both Scotland's government and the driver for transformative change, the SNP is forced to balance two roles, managing Scotland's immediate needs while also advocating for a future independent nation. As a government, it must prioritise healthcare, education and economic stability, fundamental issues for any country. Yet in demonstrating responsible governance, has the SNP become too comfortable with the framework of devolution, the very framework it seeks to transcend? Take the SNP's achievements in government. It's led the way in social politics, offering free university tuition and prescriptions, expanded childcare and put in place the Scottish Child Payment. These achievements bolster the case for independence, showing that Scotland's priorities are best served by a government focused solely on its people. But at the same time, these very successes in governance can create inertia, slowing down the urgency around the independence question. If the SNP emphasises responsible governance over the drive for sovereignty, does it risk appearing complacent, even while making Scotland more self-sufficient? Meanwhile, Westminster continues to limit Scotland's autonomy, blocking or restricting key SNP policies that would directly improve Scottish lives. The recent blockages to the Gender Recognition Reform Bill and progressive drug policies are stark examples of Westminster's interference. As long as Scotland remains within the UK, we cannot fully control our policies or pursue our vision for a fairer, more equitable society. These barriers are reminders that true progress will always be constrained under the current union, and for those of us devoted to independence, that is unacceptable. The contrast between aspiration and constraint was starkly illustrated during Donald Trump's election victory recently. While Patrick Harvey of the Scottish Greens denounced Trump's values and record, John Swinney took a diplomatic stance, congratulating Trump and affirming he is welcome in Scotland. This may have frustrated many who wish to see a bolder SNP stance, but Swinney, as First Minister, carries responsibilities that Harvey does not. I too would have preferred to see a bolder stance, but I recognise that John Swinney does have more responsibilities on the international stage than Patrick Harvey does. But between the two of them, I think the right message got put across. Trump's investments in Scotland, as controversial as they are, impact local economy and jobs, and Swinney's response reflects the delicate line the SNP must walk between governance and activism. While the SNP's commitment to responsible governance is prudent for building broad support, independence isn't won by caution alone. For many undecided Scots, independence is still seen as a leap into the unknown. The SNP's stable hand in government is essential to quell fears, but as an activist, I know this incremental approach can feel frustratingly slow. We must break free from the constraints of devolution and make a decisive move towards full sovereignty. Yet independence will not be won by one party alone. It is not a victory for the SNP. It is a national cause that reaches beyond any single party or political rivalry. Ultimately, independence rests not on the SNP's position in Parliament, but the collective will of the Scottish people. The SNP must continue to govern, yes, but it also must engage in coalition building, joining forces with other pro-independence parties and supporting grassroots movements that mobilise public support. This is why the SNP needs to rethink its strategy. To truly advance the cause of independence, they must be willing to step beyond governance and embrace its role within the movement. It must recognise that independence is larger than any one party, that Scotland's future lies in the hands of all of us, all of the people. The SNP's strength as a governing body has been the greatest asset, but to achieve independence, it must share that strength with the people it represents. Only by embracing a broader, more inclusive approach can the SNP help Scotland realise the dream of self-governance, a dream that belongs not just to the SNP, but to every single Scot. Are we ready to set aside party lines and unite for common cause? Or will we let the chance for independence slip away, buried under the weight of political manoeuvring? I believe in the SNP. I really do. They got us under the guidance of Alex Salmond, our referendum in 2014. They have pushed the boundaries of devolution further than any unionist party have ever done so while being in Holyrood. But we need to do more. More needs to be accepted in the grand plan of independence. And more needs to come from you, the activists. And we need to get over ourselves a wee bit, don't we? And that's what this week's about. We're going to be looking at everything. I can feel the rant boiling already. And I'm just a nobody, just a single activist out there trying to make things better. Tomorrow we will discuss Scotland's place in the Union with topics we are familiar with and put them in the context of this week's theme. Until then, you have a great Monday.
I can't get no sleep.